All right, let's jump into Q&A, guys. Okay, Mirama asks, what if I did a bid and I'm trying to contact the logistics manager with no response? Well, there's no difference whether you did a bid or you didn't do a bid. If somebody's not responding to you, the only thing you can do is follow up. But here's what I recommend. If you're just following up via email or you're just following up via phone, then what you need to do is you need to take a multi-channel outreach approach. You need to use all of those channels, use LinkedIn, use email, use phone, use face-to-face if you can or is possible, right? If it's local. And then the most important thing is this: when you are following up, never use the F word, okay? Now lean in, the F word is not what you're thinking right now, but never use the word just following up, okay? Or just checking in, or just touching base, okay? Boring, non-creative, and not something that's compelling that's going to get a response. You need to be creative. Come up with a compelling sales hook to get them to respond to you, because there's a reason why they're not responding to you. Either they're extremely busy and your messages are not compelling, or they've already written you off, okay, as someone who's not a viable option. So those are my two tips. There's no magic wand that I can wave. There's no magic pill that I can give you. There's no magic script that I can hand you that's going to handle that. But if you use that framework, that's going to increase your odds of getting a response and then hopefully getting the business. Nicole asks, hey, Dennis, I've been using Apollo trying to generate leads. Is there a better way to get leads? There are lots of ways to get leads. I mean, Apollo is a good one, right? I think, let's see, what did we do for Apollo? Apollo is actually a really good one. I'm not sure why you would struggle there. And you can actually sign up for free. They have a free version of it. Anybody who wants access to Apollo, you can go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/free leads. You can sign up for free. And then what you do is you can do a search by industry. You can do a search by job title, all these searches. Now they have a paid version where you can upgrade and get paid data, but you can also go into those companies and find the company website, find the main phone number, find some sales intelligence, right? Now you don't get all the data for free, but you get a lot of the data for free. Apollo's a great one. Okay, if you go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/, let's see, if you go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, all right, here it is right here. Okay, so let me show it to you. Scroll down to the bottom and then you see how to find shippers. Here's the article that goes through all of that for you, okay? It walks you through all of those 8 sources absolutely free. Plus you have the ability to download a cheat sheet from here somewhere. Somewhere along the line, there's a cheat sheet you can download. But yeah, so you can use that as another source of leads, okay? So I hope that helps. All right, here's a question from Ramon. Hi, Dennis. I would like to know, why is it harder to be a broker and agent female? My name is Rose. I know I can do this, but I'm finding hard to get contracts being a female. Please help. Oh, okay, listen. Rose, I'll be extremely honest with you. I think it's easier for women to succeed as a freight broker or freight agent. I think there's a couple reasons why. Because number one, when a woman calls them up, it's different. So you automatically stand out from the crowd. Number two, women typically have a couple of their skills are a little bit more refined for relationship building than most men. Now, this is not emphatic. This is not scientific. This is my personal experience, okay? Don't get pissed at me. This is my personal experience. Women have a tendency to listen better. Women have a tendency to be more empathetic and understanding. And I think that's what it takes to succeed in sales. If I were starting a freight brokerage today, I would hire just as many women as I would hire men. I would not even consider thinking about just hiring all men, because some people in the logistics industry, shipping managers, will relate better to females than males and vice versa. So the reality is you need both. But I don't think being a woman is a negative in the freight logistics game. You may have that framework because you're getting some rejection, but I promise you, if you were a male, you'd still be getting rejection because it's sales, okay? You know, if you had a sales counterpart that was sitting next to you that was a male and you had the exact same skill set, you would probably get the exact same response. Okay. I've had thousands of shippers that I've done business with. I've had hundreds of women that have worked for me over the years and hundreds of women that I've trained. And the women succeed at just as high, if not a higher rate than some of the men. So I don't think you want to implant that limiting belief in your brain, because I don't think it's factual, but you need to get past that, because that's not the determining factor. You have skills and assets and tools that a lot of men don't. So leverage those, and I think that will make you shine. Okay, so here's a question from SoCrates49. What if a shipper offers you an opportunity to move their freight that's not your niche? Should I go for it? Well, that's really a judgment call on your part. If you are specializing in a niche of, like when I first started, we did van, right? All had to be van freights, go on a van, Northeast outbound, and they had to go west or south. So what we did was, if we had a shipper that came to us from another area of the country that didn't meet those specifications, we did not work on that business. And the reason being is because we wanted to be very focused on our niche. We wanted to develop the carrier database that could service that niche specifically, and then we could evolve and add new niches later. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you what I did. And I don't think you should do flip-flopping from niche to niche to niche. But if you're experiencing problems or issues associated with your niche, where you're having a lot of issues and it's been quite a while and you're not able to get traction in that niche, then maybe you want to pivot or add another niche or test another niche. So the ultimate answer to that is, if you truly believe that you could service that freight at a high level without over-promising and under-delivering, right? You want to make sure you under-promise and over-deliver. If you could do that, then I'd say it might be worth the risk or worth a chance to do it. But that would be completely up to you. I don't know where you are in your business. I don't know your skill set. I don't know your niche. I'm not quite sure. So I'm not going to tell you not to do it. But I think, as a general rule, I don't like flip-flopping from niche to niche unless there's a very specific and strategic reason why. And again, you can always expand your niches. We started out in van freight Northeast outbound, then we moved into refrigerated Northeast outbound, then we moved into flatbed Northeast outbound, then we moved into other regions of the country where freight was coming from, and then we moved into other modes of transportation. So yeah, we grew organically, but it was very strategically. Right? It wasn't just haphazard. Question from T. Will. To get started, and I'm brand new at this, I want you to put up 100%. I want you to put 100% into, but I find it impossible if I work 9 to 5. What do you suggest is a smart way to start? Yeah, starting out part-time is possible, but it's harder. But starting out in your spare time will not work. Meaning, if you say, hey, I'm going to do it for an hour today, and then I'm not going to do it for a couple of days, and then I'm going to do it for a half hour, and I'm not going to do it for a couple of days, that's what I call spare time. That's never going to work with any business. Don't bother. It's a waste. But if you have a dedicated part-time effort where you're saying, hey, from 9 to 12 every day, I'm going to work on my freight brokerage business, and then from 12 to 8 in the evening, I'm going to work on my primary job, that's great. The hard part about part-time as a broker is you need to be accessible generally from about 8 to 4 or 8 to 5, because that's when about 95% of all the freight moves. That's when you're going to be able to contact carriers. That's when you're going to be able to contact shippers. And so if you're working a 9 to 5 during the day, it's challenging, because ultimately you need to be able to make and take calls and have dedicated resources towards your brokerage business. Now, when it does work out is when maybe you're working second shift, or when you have hours that you can dedicate to doing your brokerage business during normal business hours. Because again, you're not going to be able to say, hey, I'm going to work on this business from 7 in the evening till 10 at night. You're just not going to get anybody on the phone, right? You're not going to get any shippers on the phone. You're not going to get any carriers on the phone. You're not going to learn the business in a way that's going to allow you to thrive, right? So it needs to be during normal business hours. If you can sort out some time, even if it's only an hour a day or 2 hours a day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a customer that's going to produce enough cash flow that will allow you to either adjust your schedule or to transition from your full-time job to your part-time job. As long as it's enough to cover your bills, then you can now make that bet, right? So right now you're hedging your bets because you're working full-time, but you don't have enough confidence quite yet to go full-time in your brokerage. And I get it. We all have bills. So it's a risk versus reward ratio. Julie asks, what is the opinion on the type of niche you should start with? Well, Opinions vary, but I'm not going to tell you what niche to start with. What I'm going to tell you, I can give you a framework of how to determine the niche best for you, right? It's basically, there's 4 different ways you can do it. You can do it based on the equipment type, meaning van, reefer, flatbed, heavy haul, hazmat, things of that nature. You can do it based on the equipment type. You can do it based on the industry, like the steel industry, the oil and gas industry, building supplies, bottled beverages, right? That sort of thing. You can do it on niche. You can also do it based on geography. You can say, hey, Texas outbound, or Midwest inbound, or Northeast outbound, like I started with, and add some geography in it. And then the 4th way is you can do a hybrid. A hybrid is what I did. I took a combination of equipment type, which I focused in on van freight, and I focused in on the geography part, which was Northeast outbound, going west and south. And that's how I created my niche, my first niche. So I did a hybrid. I recommend hybrids. I believe hybrids are very good. If you want to pick an equipment type and a geography, that's always a great place to start. Do some research on what type of products would go on that equipment, what type of equipment there is in that geography, in and around that niche, availability of equipment. Try to understand some of the rates and some of the players that are involved there. And then you can test that niche. So that's really what we did. You can also go on my blog and you can search for freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, and you can search for niche. And I have an entire blog post with a video and a step-by-step process that you can walk through that just kind of reiterates what I just talked about now. Okay. So I have a lot of great training articles on my blog, and you can search the blog for sales or load boards or freight niche or any term that you want. And if I have an article there, it'll come up for you. And I've got tons of articles there. Okay. Software, TMS, whatever you want, right? If you're looking for a mentor, looking for a coach, looking for somebody to give you that education, and you're just in the startup phase, you're just interested in starting to become a freight broker or freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Again, trained over 10,000 students, have that program since 2009. We've got amazing ratings and reviews. You can check those out online. And we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. I can't make it any easier than that. You can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com.